sizes, unique aerial rugs, classy curtains in all the colors you desire, wall paintings of different sizes and colors, furniture, and everything you can think about for the home. All that at unbelievable prices. We even have low voltage, high quality washing machines and dryers to keep your clothes fresh and new at all times. As a bonus, we have fashion accessories for both the young and the old, designer quality bags, hats, and rare jewelries. So if you love yourself, your family, and your home, it's time to treat it right. Visit Home Sweet Home on Benson Street between Center and Buchanan Streets for that needed. You can call them on 0886 834 944 or 0770 581 420. Home Sweet Home, for the love of a classy home.
Rushing. Why are you rushing to so?
You, Judy, don't give me hard time, man. I'm going to the bank to get my cash because the bank was soon close.
You can use the ATM?
My ATM card expired ever since.
Man, you don't need ATM card. Just use the mobile app and generate an e-token. All you have to do is to just log on the app, you click on Express Cash. Then you select ATM. From there now you select Generate e-token. Then you select the account you want the money to come from. From there you select the currency that you want. If they're Liberian dollars or US dollars. Then you put in the amount that you want, whether $10 or $20, you put it in and you generate your e-token. It's simple, like 8 numbers that will come to you. When you get that number, just go to any ATM there. All you have to do is to just select the C Express Cash on the ATM now. The place where you're supposed to put your ATM pin, that way you pull that 8 number. Then it will ask you for the amount. That money where you generated, that money will come on the ATM will pay you.
So simple. Echo Benance for me again. Oh. I will always make use of the Express service big time. Echo Bank, the Pan-African Bank.
We want to say welcome back to the OK Morning Watch after that Centaur program. Welcome back, and I'm here again. My name is Fatu Kamara. So shortly we're going to have online our guest from ArcelorMittal. He is the communications director at ArcelorMittal Liberia. He's going to be on the line to talk to us briefly about their Phase 2 project. Yeah, he's going to talk about some of the things they're doing, some of the new things they are doing in Liberia. We're going to talk to him as soon as we get calls from him this morning. And he is the communications manager at ArcelorMittal Liberia. His name is Winston Dayo. So as soon as we get calls from Winston to talk to us about their Phase 2 expansion and strategic investments in Liberia, we will join him. So I just wanted to say something briefly before we get to Winston Dayo. You know, when you're listening to the show with a preconceived mind, when you listen and somebody is doing analysis of the issue with a preconceived mind, you already have that perception, you know, that this person is biased. This person is, you know, whatever you think the person is, which is always not the case. When you call, your own analysis will be biased too. So the last caller, you know, on the first segment of the program, one thing I don't allow is you calling on the show and just saying anything, and just making any kind of comment. I don't take it. I don't take it. And we all know that I don't take it. Eric Paye, the last time I was here talking about the government of Liberia, the current government, talking about building new schools when the ones that we have are incapacitated. There are no libraries, there are no books, the schools, there are no chairs and no good, a lot of things are not working. You called and you hailed that, and that was a good topic. I was not biased then. But now I'm talking about something else that's not, I don't even know how that is not in your interest. I don't know. And you call and say, okay, I'm biased, your analysis is, I don't know how he described it, and a lot of things he said. I really don't care what you think, like seriously. The fight is, I should say what the truth is, and that's all. I go with my conscience, and that's the matter of fact. Seriously, that is the fact. I go with my conscience. If you think that what I'm saying is or does not go well with you, it's left with you to just call and say, Fatu, this is what you said, but I think it is this way. But you call and telling me, oh, you're biased, you said on the radio, and you're going to cut me off. You've already called with a preconceived mind, and you know that you're going to say something that will cause me to cut you off. I'm sorry, I'm not here to cut people off. Just call and be civil and go to the point. I'm not here to cut people off. But at least you should not call discrediting people or just saying anything because the conversation or the analysis is not in your favor. All of the things you called and said are just the same things I said from the beginning. Are just the same things I said. I said nothing different from what you said. And your own problem was now, because of what happened, the government did not name the president. So that why he's saying so we should continue this issue of animosity and this and that. This is not what I said, my brother. What I said was the government had its impact. Even though there were problems, they had their own works done. They started it. They set the foundation for what we are enjoying today, what we call success today at the level of the United Nations Security Council. I said that. Did you listen to that? I said it and I was clear about it. But then I said my problem is with we Liberians who call, not always calling, I'm sorry, but we have a problem. Most of the times we tend to create problems among our leaders. Sometimes the problems are not even existing, the problems are not there, but we tend to call, we tend to just bring up issues that will worsen some of the problems that are existing, right? So I don't know how that is a problem for you, but one thing I would say to you, Eric, or any other person who think you can just call and just say anything. If you're angry, I'm not the reason. I'm sorry. So if you call, just go to the point. If you think that what I'm saying does not go your way, you say what you think is on your mind and what you think is right. But you don't call and discredit people and label people as whatever you think, which is not the case. It's wrong. And you don't call on the radio publicly and just use words on people, or let's say insult people. That I'm not going to take. So as soon as we get calls from Winston Dayu, communications manager, we're going to join him. I'm waiting for his calls, and as soon as we get calls from Winston this morning, we're going to take his calls on the radio. I stand by what I said, and I'm going to say it again. If you call on the radio with a preconceived mind that you're calling and somebody's going to cut you off, I'm sorry, I'm not the one who's going to cut you off. I don't do that. But again, I'm going to be very clear with you to say that when you call, you have to be safer, you have to be respectful, and just put on your best behaviors. That's all. That's it. And I'm not going to cut anybody off. I'm seeing this call coming in repeatedly. I hope it's Winston. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Augustine quick calling from here, the way Junction.
I'm sorry, Augustine. I'm not taking calls. I'm waiting my guest. We'll take calls later. Okay. Thank you. I was hoping that was Winston calling there, the communications manager at ArcelorMittal Liberia. He's supposed to be our next guest. He's supposed to be on the line to talk to us about the phase 2 expansion and some of the strategic investments into the long-term prosperity of Liberia, as they called it. Hoping it was Winston Dayo. But I'm still waiting the call from him. Let me see if I can just remind him yet. I'll take a break and see if I can get to Winston, and then we'll be right back here. So we have Winston on the line this morning to form a part of the program. Winston, good morning.
Good morning, Fatu, and good morning to your listeners.
Okay, quickly give us an overview of this phase 2 expansion of ArcelorMittal.
Thank you. So the phase 2 expansion project is part of ArcelorMittal's strategic investment plan in Liberia. As you may be aware, ArcelorMittal came to Liberia in 2005, beginning with the signing of a MDA. Between the period of 2005 to 2009 up to 2011, basically what the company was doing is rehabilitating major mining infrastructures, the railway, the port, the mines, renovating houses, getting the school back operational, getting the hospital back. So putting in place everything that's needed for the operation to commence. So in 2011, we did our first iron ore shipment. All of those included the first phase of the operations. Phase 2 was to expand our operations, taking the annual production from 5 million tons per annum to 50 million tons per annum. Phase 2 commenced in 2013, just before the Ebola virus outbreak. The outbreak impacted the project and it came to a standstill. In 2022, the Phase 2 expansion project recommenced with the construction of the concentrator, the expansion and rehabilitation and upgrade of the railroad and port, and rail facilities. So this is where we are now. Beginning tomorrow, we are expecting to have this big ceremony to commission the concentrator.
Okay, now let's talk about the new concentrator. What is it designed to produce?
In simple, non-technical terms, the concentrator is a facility that takes the raw iron ore and take it through a chemical process to increase the iron content by removing unwanted materials, impurities, rocks, and all of the other materials that's not needed.
Okay.
Removing it and producing much higher iron ore content, which we call the concentrate. So, for example, at the moment, we are doing direct shipment ore, which means we take the ore directly from the ground, do a test, make sure it reaches around 45 to 50% iron, and then it is shipped. Anything lower than that, it gets stored, it is not used. But with the coming of the concentrator, we'll be able to further enrich the iron ore. So when it comes from the mines, it goes through the crushing point. It goes through a chemical process where the impurities, the materials that are not needed, are removed. And the end product now is a higher grade, high iron product that is much more in demand on the global market. What that means, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
What that means is that we're going to be producing a product that's high value. So that's around 65% iron content. It would position Liberia as a major iron ore producing country because we are increasing at the same time our annual production from 5 to 15 million tons and then upwards. This means there are more jobs that are being created. The facility that has been built is a massive state-of-the-art facility. If you go there, you will see a masterpiece of engineering. This facility would need people to run, people to maintain, people to operate. We have been training Liberians just recently. We employed over 230 Liberians who are trained as process operators, who are trained in different skills to be able to operate, to manage, to maintain this facility.
How many jobs Liberians are going to have? Let's talk about the creation of jobs created by this Fatu project.
So already there are about 3,000 new construction-related roles created as a result of the construction of the concentrator. So once this is up and running in full swing, an additional 1,000 permanent roles will be created in addition to our workforce at the moment. It also includes contractors and service providers to ArcelorMittal Liberia. Like, for example, we have Sigal, a security firm that provides security services for us. They employ hundreds of Liberians. So not just those who are directly employed with ArcelorMittal Liberia, but all of the subcontracting companies that employ Liberians. So we see a broader opportunity for addressing the issue of employment that this concentrator is going to help solve.
Okay, let's talk about how much has ArcelorMittal invested in the expansion project.
So we're talking in the tune of around $2 billion. That is also in addition to what we spent, phase one, getting the rail up to date, getting the port, and getting all of the other facilities up to date. In total, we're talking around 3.5 billion United States dollars spent by ArcelorMittal, invested by ArcelorMittal Liberia so far in its operations in Liberia.
So when is the first high-grade shipment expected?
So the target is made this year.
Okay.
Tomorrow is the commissioning of the concentrator, and then we see once it's in full operations, the target is to get the first high concentrate out made this year, which should be in about a month or two.
Let's come to the rail. What upgrades were made to the rail line?
So, just to go back a little bit, Asalamita inherited a rail infrastructure that was almost non-existent, totally dilapidated, looted, with all of the iron components sold and removed as scrapped as a result of the Civil War. So the first phase of the rail rehabilitation was just restoring all of the sleepers, making sure the rail is able to run again. The second phase, which is part of our phase two expansion project, has been to replace all of the wooden sleepers. So before, the rail line used to have wood under, and then on the top you'll see the iron component, the steel component. This
Okay.
is not the case anymore. We've invested a lot and have replaced over 400,000 sleepers. 400,000 sleepers. So as we speak, the rail is entirely steel, which means it is safer, and it is long-lasting, much more durable to sustain our operations. We've also invested in introducing a rail traffic management system that is digital. So from our dispatch center in Buchanan, the team can view the track 24/7, know where each locomotive is, and if someone is overspeeding, from dispatch headquarters, they have the technology to immediately stop the train. So there are different improvements that have been made on the railway.
Let's talk about the some of the improvements also made at the Buchanan port. What are some of them?
The the port is undergoing major expansion with new facilities being built as we speak. In terms of material handling, uh, at the port we have constructed a new ship loader, and also linked to a new rail car dumper system. So before, or let me say now, as our operations, what we do is when the wagons come from Yekepa, they are manually offloaded using excavators.
Okay.
With phase two, that is not going to be the case. There's a technology called a rail cart dumper that is going to automatically empty the wagons, and the iron ore goes through a conveyor system up to the ship loader, and it's loaded into the ship. It is a much more efficient, cost-effective, and safer technology that's going to be working at the port. So we will have limited use of excavators to offload, and we will increase production time, improve safety, and operational efficiency.
So how many new locomotives and wagons we're talking about here that were purchased for this rail system?
I do not have all of the number right now, but I know we have at least 9 to 15 new locomotives that have been or are being procured. Some of those have arrived, and the remaining are coming, in addition to hundreds of new wagons.
Okay. So let's talk about the sleepers too. How many sleepers were installed on the railway?
So around 400,000 new steel sleepers, removing out of the wooden ones. That has been done. That also was a really good opportunity for Liberians. They were the ones working with WBHO and doing the upgrade of the rail. So members of our community were given the opportunity to work on this project. So we're very proud that this rail upgrade and expansion has been able to include our local communities.
Now let's come to the commissioning ceremony. Give us a picture of how it's going to be. You said tomorrow. Who do we expect to be a part of it?
So we are welcoming on our site a cross-section of Liberians from different backgrounds, but also high-level VIPs from the government. We are expected to receive His Excellency the President, Joseph Yumabwaka, and top executives of Accelerator Global. There are also going to be government ministers and heads of relevant agencies, Minister of Mines, Minister of Labor, Minister of Justice, all of the land ministries and agencies. But there's also a high level of inclusion and participation of our communities, our chiefs and our elders and everyone, the youth, everyone has been invited to witness and participate in this landmark commissioning ceremony.
Okay, so now let's talk about the impact. How will this phase two expansion, project help impact Liberia's economy?
The impact of this project would be significant. It will be profound.
Okay.
As you may be aware, for the past couple of years, ArcelorMittal Liberia has been either the highest contributor to government's revenue. We're always in that bracket as the top performer when the LRA gives out their annual award. With the expansion project, what that means is more in taxes, more in revenue generation for the government, more in community development, because our county social development fund contribution is also going to increase, which means our communities and our counties will have the opportunity to invest in long-lasting, sustainable development projects for themselves. It also means jobs.
Okay.
We are now the leading private sector employer, and that number continues to go up. More Liberians will have an opportunity to work and care for their families and their children to school. It also means investment in education, investment in healthcare. In Grand Basso and in Nimba, we are supporting the government with the construction of 2 new hospitals. So a lot of benefits from this project. A lot of people have been impacted. And we believe through this partnership with the government, we'll be able to power Liberia's transformation, power Liberia's economic development.
How is ArcelorMittal ensuring that the project is safe and good for the environment?
The technologies that we're using are technologies that consider the impact that we're having on the environment and how we ensure that that is mitigated. So we make sure that we are compliant with all of the environmental laws of Liberia and all of the international standards as well. We hold ourselves as a business accountable to the impact, to our footprint, and we have the technology, we have the training and the expertise to help reduce whatever our impact is on the environment. When we leave Liberia, if ever, we want to leave the mines and everywhere safe, and our impact here, our footprint significantly reduced.
Now let's talk about, finally, before I let you go, let's talk about the jobs you said are going to be created by the expansion. What kind of trainings are being offered currently, to the Liberian workers?
We have different levels of trainings that are ongoing.
Okay.
We launched about 2 years ago the process operator training. That's specifically for those who are going to be working at the concentrator,
Okay.
who are going to be managing, who are going to be maintaining the operations of the concentrator. We have our vocational training program, the Mental Liberia Training Academy. Uh, as a matter of fact, for the last three graduations, all of the students that we have put out, over 97% of them have been absorbed into our workforce, which means we are not just training, we are training and providing job opportunities. Other Liberians, other employees of AML have had international opportunities. Last year, we had a staff in Canada, we had a staff in Brazil. We continue to expose Liberians working with us to what mining is internationally, what are the standards, what are the processes, because we want those individuals to bring back the knowledge and skills and transfer to other Liberians as well. So different level of trainings. There are trainings in leadership and innovation that are ongoing. This week, for example, is our learning week, which we do every year, where there's peer learning sessions and people are able to engage, people are able to sharpen their leadership and their managerial skills for better performance.
What's the projected timeline for the completion of this phase two expansion project?
The concentrator is ready for commissioning, which
Okay.
is a significant portion of the expansion project. However, there are other ongoing activities like the port, the work at the port. So I wouldn't want to put a specific timeline to say that the December 2025 the project will come to an end. No, there are other activities that will be going on. But the good thing is that the project has kicked off and is in operation.
Let's talk about transparency in all of the activities, the jobs you'll be creating, the recruitment process, or processes. Let's talk about transparency. How did you ensure transparency and responsiveness to the local concerns of the communities you're operating in?
One of the values we espouse as a business is to be accountable, to demonstrate good corporate governance, and to demonstrate fair play in all of our processes.
Okay.
Particularly when it comes to recruitment, we ensure that our processes are fair, they are they are open and they are transparent, and we hold ourselves accountable to those. There have been concerns about lack of information about opportunities at Aslam Metal Liberia. We are responding to those concerns by making sure all of the opportunities that we have, whether it's job vacancy, whether it's training opportunity, all of these opportunities are communicated locally and nationally. So, for example, we have different channels of communication that we have been using. We have a very active and responsive social media presence on Facebook and LinkedIn. We post all opportunities in the company there. We have our website. We have the radio. There are dozens of radio stations in Liberia, in Monrovia, and Bon County, Nimba, Grand Bassa, that relay our programs where we talk about these opportunities. We talk about the processes that you need to follow when you are applying for a job as a Metal Liberia. At the community level, we also do community outreach. Our HR and community relations teams go to these communities regularly. For example, if we're doing a recruitment for local workers, they go to the community, provide awareness about what the process is, what community members need to do to apply for this opportunity, what evaluations they will have to go through, and what the outcome will be. It's an ongoing process. We continue to strengthen our communication and community relations to make sure our communities know what's happening in the business and what opportunities are there for them.
Let's talk about some of the challenges, the biggest challenges ArcelorMittal anticipates in the implementation of this phase two, and how are you working to address some of them?
Well, so in terms of what we anticipate, we are very positive that the environment, the business climate in Liberia will remain positive and conducive for operations, because there are different factors that can impact our operations as a business. The project itself has had its own challenges. There are new upgrades to the project. There are new innovations and technologies that are being introduced that sometimes would affect project timeline, or maybe we have to innovate around those challenges. For us, it's just about being forward-looking as a business, being far-sighted and anticipating what's going to happen next, and put in place strategies and plans to address those challenges as they come along.
Finally, before I let you go, let's talk about ArcelorMittal Liberia's vision for, continued partnership with the Liberian government and also the local communities beyond this phase 2 expansion.
ArcelorMittal is here for good.
Okay.
The investment that we have made, the number of years that we have operated without leaving Liberia, whether it was through Ebola, COVID-19, global economic meltdown, drop in iron ore prices, we have remained in Liberia. Okay. We're confident that the future is bright with this investment, because this actually puts Liberia on a new scale as a mining country.
Okay.
More is going to come, more benefits, more opportunities, more resources for us to continue to partner with the government and people of Liberia to make the future brighter.
Thank you, Winston. Anything you want to add before you drop the line?
I just want to thank the OKFM family and your show for giving us this opportunity. I want to thank the media generally for the interest they've shown in the work that we are doing in Liberia. Okay. Tomorrow's program, we anticipate to also have the media presence. So this is a story, this is a national story, this is a story about Liberia and the progress that this country is making. So I urge my media colleagues to take out the time and see what's happening, and to report this as one of the things that Liberia is proud of.
Winston, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you listened to him there, Colin. He is the communications manager of ArcelorMittal Liberia, and he was naming some of the things they have been doing as part of their phase two expansion initiative in their operational areas. So we're just going to go back. We have like 18 minutes up to 18 minutes up to 10 o'clock. We'll just go back and talk about and just continue with what we started this morning about this issue of Liberians. And I said it from the beginning, when you're calling, when you say, well, you're not supposed to say, I'll cut you off. And that's just it. Let's talk about how we Liberians, and I set the basis before I began the course. I set the basis how we Liberians hide the problems ourselves. From the beginning, a lot of us complained that this government can do it on their own. They don't need the former president, so he should not even get a photo of his shoe. He does not know what they're going to do with his photo, placing it on a flyer, and a lot of things Liberians say. The same Liberians are saying, oh, you people, you didn't put the man photo there. I'm not saying what you're saying about placing the man photo there is wrong. No. This is not what I'm saying. But my problem is, as a Liberian, a patriotic one, as a matter of fact, when there's a problem, or if there is a problem between two leaders, especially like what happened in the case I'm talking about, where Liberia is going to be represented at the international level. It's going to not just be a part, not just a part, just a mere member, but has a seat, a non-permanent seat now at the UN Security Council. And the government wants the full support of the former president. It's something that we all should encourage the former president and say, in as much as there are issues, but this has to do with Liberia, let's just put aside this. Think about, if there's any problem between you and the current president, or if they are not respecting or acknowledging some of the works you did. Let's put this behind us and just support this bid for a non-permanent seat, instead of saying, okay, the former president should not do this, he should not do that because of the government like this. And also the current government, Eric Paye, it's funny, right? You called and said, okay, the current government, you already in power, you were, so just let things go. This is what we should be saying. They should have just let things go and just place his name there and thank him. But Eric, what were you saying too when the government asked the former president to just join the efforts to secure the seat at the UN Security Council? What did you say? Did you also say, okay, that he just forget about it and we just support Liberia? If you did not say it then, and trying to push it on another person, then you are wrong. That's where you're wrong. Sometimes you're saying the right thing, but who you've been or your past advocacies have been wrong. So it makes it hard for somebody to just accept what you want to say. Nobody will want to accept you saying that because they did not hear you saying that to the past leaders. So now the government should have just let, sleeping dogs lie. Let bygones be bygones and say, okay, this thing is over. We've already gotten a seat. Let's just put his name there. But then when they asked him to be a part of it, all the people saying, why you didn't put his name there, said, a lot of them said, they can do it on their own. They don't respect the past president. In fact, they call him a common citizen. I think we are the problem. We are the problem. So we should wake up. You can call and disagree. That's your right to disagree. You can call and disagree, but just be civil in your disagreements. We cannot go the same way. That's why we're different. But when you call and you want to say somebody like this, okay, the person biased, the person, what are we doing? So we just take few more calls in the next 30 minutes. And we call this a day on the Wednesday edition of the OK Morning Rush. 0777 700 995 0555 995 995 are the numbers to call. Congratulations again to Liberia, and thanks to all of those who contributed to put Liberia on the map again. Yeah, somebody said, well, Liberia is already on the map, right? 0777 700 995 0555 995 995 are the numbers to call and be a part of the program. We Liberians, most times we create the problems, and what's funny is that we will complain about just everything. We will complain about just everything. Yeah. We have this caller. Good morning. Good morning. Oops, we lost it. You can call us back 0777 700 995. Good morning.
Good morning, Fatu.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Imaya and Clement, specifically calling us from the small community.
Okay, Iman.
Yeah, also, the government yesterday, we want to say applaud to Industrial Joseph Iman Bokai and Itara. What they did extremely well. They stood up for the fight for the breakthrough. I use that representation there. I want to say bravo to them. And also, even in the church, we have politics everywhere now. The church started from the church, the politics. So always get discuss the issue. You get celebrate human beings. Somebody will see black and see like yellow. So thank you very much for at least accepting me on your call this morning.
Thank you. Let's take this. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good morning. This is Mr. Tape.
Yeah.
And I call you from Bro here.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the privilege to late. But can I speak to the asylum meter issue quickly?
Okay.
All right. I'm on Liberian and I followed the program of asylum meter from the day from the time they came to Liberia since the Madam Sally administration.
Yeah.
But what frustrates me more to the issue is that the concession agreement that would be done between they and government. But we as citizens, to be frank, if you do your background check, despite you being a journalist, but you have right to also check and criticize if you think if it is necessary in that direction.
Okay.
Asylum meter benefit more from Liberia than Liberia benefit more from asylum meter. We agree that human capacity building is cutting off, but the resources asylum meter takes from Liberia is more than what we benefit. Trust me, if you go on the ground after the communication director has said it, right? If you go on the ground of asylum meter, you'll feel very disappointed since almost to 19 years they've been in Liberia. We have not benefited as they are benefiting from this country, to be frank. Let me say the communication director is a Liberian, although he's speaking to protect his job, but in a human understanding, naturally, he knows that Liberia have benefited nothing of asylum meter. If
So
you
you
go
can say
to
nothing, huh?
Say that?
So you can say nothing.
No, if I say nothing, I'm discussing something that we can boast of tomorrow if asylum meter leaves from Liberia. Look,
Okay.
I just followed the renovation of bridge in Grand Bassa. We are not discussing renovation of bridge in Grand Bassa. Probably they might have the social corporate responsibility and they try to implement. But if you discuss factories should be built in Liberia, where ArcelorMittal taking iron ore from here, we should have iron ore produced right in Liberia by ArcelorMittal. We should have other material produced in Liberia. To be frank, they can never do that in South Africa, where they came from. They can never do that.
Okay, this is not what we're discussing. I just wanted to give you the chance to just talk.
So
thank you so much.
Let me just throw a little light.
At least you've
let me come back to say, regardless of who's the president that proposed this special seat to the United Nations for Liberia Security Council, I don't want to go that route. But I'm certified that at least Liberia can be counted at that seat, and we should make maximum use of that. It shouldn't be politicized. We should see ourselves like we came from the dungeon and then we're making progress as Liberian, regardless of Unity Party, the CDC, the John Weah, the Joseph Boakai. Although the current government is taking the glory, but we should celebrate as Liberian that we are at least being counted after Angie Brooks Rambler. We are counted again as Liberian. That's what we should be doing.
All right.
Let's take our sentiment away.
All right.
Thank you so much for affording me the time.
Thank you, dear. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Oops.
Good morning. Dr. Kamara and Johnny from Looking.
So one
Hello?
of you will just have to hold the line. Yeah,
Good
let's
morning.
hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. This morning, I think you took a very important point about people who complaining and other people saying this and that. But let's look at the release from the government.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that release is very key and cardinal. Because if you look at the people they named in the release, that is the exact history of Liberia. We are not talking about president, that 25 president, including President Baka today, 25 president of Liberia. Is there any 25 president name you saw there? You're talking about the first president who gave birth to your country, who came and made Liberia first a Commonwealth. He was deputy governor, later on become governor, and later on made Liberia independent. That today we are proud to be called Liberians. That's the first issue. Then look at the second person named Totman. President Totman, who came and look at all of the Shaka Stephen, who came and look at everything and said, "No, let's make Liberia an administrative area." That today he was the first mayor to start pushing Liberia agenda at the United Nations. That's another person that has history at the United Nations about Liberia. That's Shaka Stephen. Let's look at President Totman. Totman, who went and met and put Liberia almost all over the world. That to the extent that Queen Elizabeth have to visit Liberia. Those are people that put in Liberia to the war. Then look at Tobot. Tobot appeared at the United Nations and told the United Nations General Assembly that if you want us to keep peace, if we're discussing peace, then let Israel withdraw from the territorial land occupied in Palestine. You know why it takes at that time to speak against Israel? The first person in the United Nations to speak against Israel was President Tobot. So let's come to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the first female president in Africa, who even after when met with President of America, who were invited at the graduation, ceremony, special guest at the Howard University, speaking to war students. Today, when we're talking about Liberia, those are people we name. Ellen appearance even to that graduation ceremony as a speaker, she made Liberia case, connecting Howard University with Liberia UL, speaking to people, telling them how Howard has produced great people in the world, including herself, including all the richest people you think today in the world, all the best scientists you think, that is all from Howard University. And that was the history that Ellen left today, that even when you go on that website, you can see from Ellen there. Those are people we think about, okay, should we put Baka there now? Should we put we are there? What is that history? If we come to football, yes, we have put Liberia on the wall, but this is about peace. Who has speak about peace concerning Liberia? So I think the people who flirting with our story that Judge Leah should be there or this, that, or so should we also say that Charles Taylor should be there? Should we also call for Joseph Jim's team to be there? Is that what they are telling us? This is history. When they put people on the map, read their history before you come and counter argue about them. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's take this person from here. Good morning.
Good morning, Fatu.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the morning party.
All right.
Let me register that you have brought so much maturity on the show since Karen left, and I need to say that all of you were. So let me say congratulations to you and Alice for the kind of maturity you brought on the radio.
Okay.
But the foundation, my argument for you started on a very cardinal point. And if we continue on the path, I feel like we'll get better.
Okay.
Last time we gave people flower while they are alive too. In the absence of politics, those who contributed their collaborative efforts, the approaches they made back then during the Weir time up to current, all of whom who contributed in enabling us to obtain a seat.
Mm-hmm.
I think the governments were kind of like all of them, because at times, when you have the program and you do not want to be caught, then don't name. When we start to name people and recognize them by name, then all of them who contributed names to must be called to create a balance. And if we must reconcile, then we must forget about the history and the deep politics. At times we just look at the reality and just stick to power. Then I think it strengthens the nation. because we are actually divided by two parts. Thanks a million for the kind of analysis, and you set the pace this morning, and I hope we continue to go in this form, man.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Let's take this caller, and he's our last caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Jim, Labra, and I tell you from the country I was born.
Okay.
Let me say thank you very much, Fatu, for a wonderful show.
All right.
You know, it would just be prudent enough that this government and the president to be sincere, because you will not go on many people who contributed towards the seat, turning of this and leaving President Weah and other officials out. I think it's unfair, it's not good, because the reconciliation that we are talking about, these are things that will help us. But if this president continues to refuse to mention George Weah's name, even his project is wrong. I think give the man his flower while he was alive. It will be better. Thank you so much for the show.
Thank you so much. So, in September 2024, the administration of President Joseph Boakai, which succeeded Weah's, formally requested his support for Liberia's UN Security Council bid. And this included asking him to record a minute-long video message endorsing the bid and to participate in the official launch in New York. And this was the conditional support. The former president office responded positively, indicating his continued support for Liberia's aspiration for a UN Security Council seat. However, his office also emphasized that the country's domestic policies should reflect the values it seeks to promote globally, specifically mentioning that's good governance, political freedoms, and the rule of law. This suggests a desire for Liberia's internal actions to align with the international aspirations. So, you listen to what he said. I just ended the show with what he said and what the government requested of him. So that's it. You can decide what you want to decide. Thank you to all of those who called, and thanks to all of those who followed online. Thanks to all of those who also just played a listening role. We appreciate all of you. My name is Fatu Kamara. I've been here since 7 o'clock this morning, bringing you the OK Morning Watch. In the absence of my boss, Clarence Jackson. Tomorrow I'm going to be here, but I'm out until I talk to you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, sorry. I have to go. Thank you so much for listening.